This week's episode is brought to you by the Wetaskiwin Arts and Music Festival Committee, Delcon Visual Arts, and Warren's Music. If you'd like to contact us, you can reach us on our Facebook page at Wetaskiwin Wonkcast. Look up Wet Wonkcast. You can email us at wetwonkcast@gmail.com. And you can also find us on our website at delconvisualarts.com/wonkcast. We're also on Twitter. Look us up for Wet Wonkcast, and Instagram, the same handle.
Welcome to this episode of the Wonkcast. Great to be back with you. It's been a couple of weeks. Dale had an episode a few weeks ago and took last week off for Canada Day, and I hope everybody had a fun, safe Canada Day. We are back today, joined in studio by the soothing sounds, warm stage presence, and overall kindness of Mackenzie Fisher-Bach joining us today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So you're one of the first guests we've had on here, or it's your first time on here, being that we've had a lot of kind of, not musicians in the past few weeks, but just kind of all different art forms and painters and all that stuff. So we're kind of getting back into the music thing. And you're one of my favorite people to watch. I've seen you a few times that you regularly perform at Beans.
I do,
as well, yes. I think I've said that about almost every guest that's been on here. I think, you're a regular at Beans. But great having you. If you've never seen Mackenzie Fisher-Bach or heard her sing, you have this very powerful kind of drawing voice to you. So where did that come from? When did you learn that you could first sing like that?
That was actually in third grade. I had auditioned for the school talent show, and I was like, hey, why the hell not? I'll audition, I'll sing a song. And the funny thing is, as kids, we don't really know how to sing along to karaoke tracks, right? So I had a CD. I had this disc, and I literally sang along to the actual song from that CD on that talent show.
Do you remember the song?
I don't, and it makes me so angry because a friend of mine, she's like, yo, what was that song you sang back in the third grade? And I was like, I don't remember.
There's probably a VHS tape kicking around somewhere.
It'll come to you in dreams.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. About 20 years from now, I'll wake up in the middle of the night like, oh my God.
So what was the genre of the song? Was it a rock song? Was it a pop song?
Actually, folk pop.
Folk pop?
Weird genre, yeah. It was some Scottish gal. I can't remember her name for the life of me, and it drives me insane. No, but I got up there and I sang, and then my parents were crying, and people were like, yo, you're actually really good. So I was like, oh, am I? So I just kept doing that.
You just kept doing it from that.
Yeah.
So it was a labor of love. What was the age you first picked up the guitar?
I would have been in 8th grade, so that would be, 13, 14? No, it's been about 6 years now that I've been playing.
Yeah, because you have a style that you've been playing for a while, just kind of listening. You don't play with a pick.
No,
you're a finger picker.
I don't like playing with picks, even if I'm strumming.
Which is great, because it adds such this, unique kind of warm feel to it, where you just kind of get the sounds of the finger picking as opposed to the strumming. Was that always something you had?
Yeah, since I first started, I never really liked using the pick. And I mean, even though I started off with the generic 1-2, up and down strum, I just never had an affinity for the pick. So I just play with my bare hands.
You can emulate a lot of that with your fingernails anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I noticed, yeah, you do play with your fingernails quite a bit. I think the first time I saw you, I thought you had the finger picks on because you were just playing so quick and so good, and I was like, oh, she's probably got the 4 or 5 finger picks like the banjo picks on, but you didn't.
I don't use those for the banjo either.
Yeah. Oh, you play banjo too?
I do. I play everything.
Wow. Look what we got here. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's always great to see you perform in your acoustic styles. When you started playing the guitar, like you said, you've been playing for about 6 years. What made you want to play guitar? Because you said you were singing from earlier. So what was the transition that said, "Hey, I want to pick up a guitar and I want to start playing"?
Well, I wanna say that it was Jeff Buckley who really inspired me, because he is one of my biggest musical influencers. But I'm gonna indulge you guys in a big secret. It was actually Justin Bieber.
Okay.
His first movie, I don't remember what it was called, came out.
Never say never.
Yeah, the first movie came out, and I watched it with my best friend. And I kind of sat there, and I was like, wow, I want to be that famous. I want to, play guitar. So I, after a while of noodling around and being like, haha, I'm playing guitar without, doing any chords or whatever, just playing with the strings.
Most of the time.
Mm-hmm. I just looked on the internet and I was like, hey, this isn't that hard. I mean, my fingers bled a bit. My hands hurt for weeks, but...
Right. Well, then you were doing it right.
Yeah.
If you have calluses, you're doing it right, for sure.
When I picked it up, I picked it up pretty fast, and it's just been a journey from there.
So was there a guitar in your family? Like, was it your dad's guitar? Was it somebody in the family's guitar that you picked up? And
that's actually a funny story. My parents went to an auction in Black Falls?
Black Falls, yeah.
Yeah, and they bought these two guitars in the auction, but we already had a guitar at home. It was my dad's guitar. He'd had it, since he was pretty young. And he was like, oh, why don't you play my guitar? I was like, I don't like the sound of it, Dad. And so I was playing with one of the ones that they got at the auction, and then one of the strings on that broke, and I didn't know how to change a string back then, so I just went on and played with my dad's guitar, and I was like, hey, you know what, Brian, I'm sorry. This is a fine guitar. And I played on that one for a while too, until I bought myself the one that I bring out to gigs now.
Yes, this beautiful Epiphone.
Yes.
So tell us about this guitar, because this guitar, I think, suits you so perfectly, just because it has this element of darkness, but it also has this beautiful kind of fullness to it, I guess you could say. Did you pick a guitar kind of as your personality?
I actually had the choice between a, much higher priced Seagull guitar and that one. And I just like the sound of this one much better.
It's a beautiful sounding guitar.
Yeah. The guy at the music store, he kept mentioning the whole bassiness of the sound of the guitar, which is something that I always look for in an instrument. If I can create those bass notes that I don't have accompanying me.
Yeah.
So I have to do it myself, right? And you just can't replicate that sound on most guitars. But this one here has been the perfect choice for me.
Yeah. And you guys obviously can't see it on the podcast, but maybe we'll take a picture with you later and show you this guitar just so you guys can kind of get an essence of it. It really is beautiful. I think it encapsulates everything that you bring to the stage when you're performing. Just because the type of songs that you choose to sing, I think it goes really well with that particular genre. So getting back to that and the set list portion of your performance and how you pick songs. How do you pick songs for certain shows?
I have a Rolodex of songs compiled in my head that I know that I can play and that I know fit the genre that I usually go for. So it's mostly just pulling shit out of my ass. I'll have a couple of songs planned, like, okay, I'll play this one, and this one, but then the rest of it is, how can I fill the rest of the time in between those three chosen songs? So...
It's like set lists are pretty much just a guiding point anyway. I mean, as far as our band goes, we never seem to end up playing the entire set list that we do anyway. So.
Like, I've made the effort of compiling a set list with 30 plus songs, and it'll be, 2 hours worth of, good stuff that I can play in this certain order. And then I never do, because I look at it and I'm like, shit, I don't want to play that. So then I just move on, and then I completely deviate from it, and I end up throwing it halfway across the room. So
you can read the crowd and see what they're entertained by too, so you got to change it up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So do you rehearse, like, for the shows? If you know you have shows coming up, do you kind of spend time rehearsing, or is it just once you get there and once you get the guitar, you say, you know what, I'm going to play this one, I'm going to start off with this one, and just kind of let it free flow like that?
It's the latter. I really don't put that much thought into what I'm going to play, where I'm going to play it. As bad as that sounds, it does add that level of intimacy, I think, to a performance that I like to bring. It's just not something you can rehearse.
Well, that goes to show your level of talent, too. I mean, if you can just pull stuff out of your ass, like you said, I mean, a lot of people can't do that. They have to follow the guidelines. They have to follow the set list. Even I see lots of singers that are using iPads or notepads, and personally, I don't like it. But I haven't seen you use one yet, so.
No, I think that if you're going to go into a performance, you should have your pieces memorized. The idea of bringing the technology with me on stage just doesn't sit well with me as a, folk singer and acoustic singer. It just doesn't fit with the whole persona of the whole get-up. So I try to refrain from playing songs that I don't know if I don't know them well enough.
Did your family have like a musical background? Was there anybody in your family that was kind of that played or sung? Or
my dad used to play the guitar before he banged up his knuckles, and my mom played the flute in school, I think, and my granddad played the trumpet in when he was in the army. So
you were saying that you play a lot of different things.
I do.
I want to hear what you play.
Oh God. Hang on, this will take me an hour to actually think about. No,
I picture you as a guitar player, because that's all what I've seen you as is just playing the guitar. But then you're saying you play banjo and you play all this other stuff, and I'm like, well, if she sounds that good on guitar.
Yeah, guitar is definitely my best instrument.
I would kill to hear you bring a banjo into Beans one night and play banjo.
Oh God, if I was confident enough in my banjo skills, I would. I definitely would. But as we were mentioning, I do play the banjo, but I've also been playing the mandolin for a few years, as well as the ukulele, the piano. I'm proficient at bass. I got fairly okay at the dulcimer before I lost access to it. Those little shitty looking things by Siegel called Merlins?
Yes.
I have one of those.
Okay.
I love that thing. It's just D-A-D-D, really simple. It's like playing in open D tuning on the guitar, minus 2 strings. I used to be really proficient at the harmonica, but I don't think that counts anymore because I'm not anymore.
So you do the Bob Dylan thing and have the harmonica on your neck and play guitar. And
I'd like to be able to get to that level again, but I need to get one of those holders.
Right?
Yeah, the little stabilizer or whatever it's called. There's probably more. I can really pick up any string instrument and figure it out within a half an hour. So if something comes to me, I'll be sure to interrupt you guys halfway through a sentence.
What's your jam session like? Because when you play the songs in a show, do you play different things when you're just sitting at home by yourself, hanging out, or for friends? If you're around friends, do you just play the really fun stuff that you wouldn't include in the shows, or?
It really depends, because a lot of the times I'll just be messing around on the guitar and not really singing anything if I'm with company. But if somebody asks me to play something for them, I'll see if I can figure it out. I usually play Wagon Wheel when I'm with a bunch of people, because it's a easy song. Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Somebody tried to get me to play Despacito the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was not about that, so I didn't do that.
So would you put a spin on modern music and try to make it your own with guitar?
Would really have to depend on the song. A lot of the pieces I do play are modern. It's all contemporary folk and contemporary indie and stuff like that, right? But I just never really enjoyed the music that fit into the whole popular subcultures and stuff like that. I never liked the mainstream music either, even as a young child.
For sure, yeah. Have you ever been playing a song and then you just kind of got really overly emotional and maybe started crying playing?
That's happened a couple times, but it's usually when I'm alone.
Okay.
I like to think I have a pretty good handle on my emotions, even though I put a lot of it into what I'm playing.
You have a very emotional voice, and then as I was saying with your whole stage presence and how you play the guitar, there's a few notes that you can play that just really bring out that emotion, that emotional sounding kind of guitar notes, and you deliver that all the time, and I think it's really, really special to kind of see because it's nice to listen to.
Yeah, there is this one song called The Stable Song by Gregory Alan Isakov. He's one of my favorite artists of all time. He's actually coming to Edmonton Folk Fest this year, and I'm really hoping I'll be able to get a ticket before they sell out. But anyways, the first time I listened to it, I just wept like a baby, and so I decided I'm gonna learn how to play this, and it took a couple times, but once I think I really got connected to the song, I was just crying the whole time, and I was alone, thankfully, so I wasn't too terribly embarrassed, but it was still a pretty emotional experience for me.
But it's never happened on stage, anybody? No, not yet. Yeah, I think people would really get involved in that kind of. I'm one of those people. If I see somebody cry, I just start crying. I don't even have to know them if they're up there. They're probably then I'm like, oh, I gotta go. It's even worse when you see someone busking in the subway and they're playing a really sad song and you start crying. And everyone thinks you're crying on the subway. But that's a whole different story. So would you like to play a song for us today?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Songs are just like prayers, like gospel hymns that you call in the air. Come down, sweet reverence, unto my simple house and reign. On the Ohio, ring like clear day wedding bells. Will we the belly of the beast or the sword that fell? Oh, we'll never tell. Come to me, clear and cold, like some sea. Watch the world spin in waves like some machine. Now I've been crazy, couldn't you tell? I threw stones at the stars, but the whole sky fell. Now I'm covered up in straw, belly up on the table. And I drank and I sang and passed in the stable. That tall grass grows high and broad, and I drank you straight in the muddy ground, and you sent me back to where I roamed. Well, I cursed and I cried, but now I know. Oh, but now I know. Yeah, and I ran back to that hollow again. Oh, the moon was just a sliver back then, and I ached from my heart like some tin man. When it came, oh, it beat and it boiled and it ran. Oh, it's ringing. Ring like crazy, ring like hell. Turn me back into that wild-haired gale. Ring like silver, ring like gold. Turn these diamonds straight back into gold. Turn these diamonds straight back into gold. Turn these diamonds straight back.
See, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
That was great.
Thanks. Yeah, it's one of my favorite songs of all time, and I'm really glad that I got to share that with you guys.
I'm really glad you shared it with us, actually, because I love hearing kind of other artists play songs because it gives me a chance to discover new music. Like, not new music, but music that's new to me.
Yeah.
And in particular, that song was very new to me. And I hadn't heard it before, but I thank you for kind of shining that on us and allowing me to discover something new. So,
Stable Song by Gregory Alan Isakov.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you did it try that again in English. You did it justice. There I go blowing the mood, eh?
Well, one of us has.
One of us has.
I'm usually the one to do it every episode.
I'm just glad it wasn't me. No, I'm really glad you think so. He's a really incredible musician, and I would honestly kill to go see him live. So, hint, sponsor me.
Yes.
No,
Hashtag sponsor Mackenzie.
Start it up.
So, do you have any originals that you've done?
I knew I was going to ask that eventually.
I'm not asking you to share, but
I know the story behind it, so that's why she's laughing right now, because I've
you know.
All right. Well, now the rest of the world wants to know.
I am a shit writer.
I find that hard to believe. Actually.
I will spend so much time, just sitting around trying to write down some lyrics, and everything turns out like garbage. Because I'm still a little too juvenile in that sense of the art form, which is really upsetting to me, because I am more advanced everywhere else except for one of the most crucial parts of being a musician, and it's really frustrating. But I am not a good songwriter.
Well, I'm assuming, judging by that statement, you've never really done a lot of co-writing. Most of it's on your own.
Never done.
Because that makes a world of difference.
I've done it once. And it was for a class project, actually, in my grade 12 year, for choral class, actually. We had to do these compositions, and so my buddy and I, we paired up, and we banged out a song within like a half an hour, and then we had to perform it later, because both of our partners had dropped out on us. So...
Isn't that nice of them?
Yeah, it was great. But the song itself was, okay. The melody was nice. Like, she's a good singer. I was happy to be working with her.
As a songwriter, there's sometimes where you get in that mode of you think, this is no good. This is just, nobody's going to like this. Mm-hmm. And then, there's a few people that actually like it. But in your kind of development and what you've done, you sit there and say, it's not what I want to do, or it's not what I think I can do. And then you try to write more and more.
But musically or whatever, we're our own worst critic anyway. So it doesn't matter. It could be the greatest song in the world, and you're going, oh, shit. And other people go, are you crazy? That's great.
Well, I mean, my parents are my worst critics, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes from the fact that a lot of the bases of my music stem from really, really amazing songwriters like Joni Mitchell, Laura Marling, and Bob Dylan. So I sit there and I look at what they've written, and then I look at what I've written, and I just feel really inadequate, I guess. So that has really...
That's a totally normal thing, I think, for songwriters. Is hearing a song on the radio and you're like, I could have wrote that.
Yeah. That is literally my feeling all the time.
Yeah, but... Don't forget, you've only been doing this for, 6 years? 6
years.
How long have you been doing it? Well, 6 years actually isn't that long. It's really
feels
not.
Like
I've been playing guitar for 40 years, and I'm still learning stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So don't ever let that cloud your abilities.
Yeah, and I've been doing it for about 3 years, and I still can't get an F chord out. So, we all have our You did way better than I can get. I can't. Good
get tip that here. Out. Just use your thumb for the bass note there. Yeah.
Well, I've heard you say the F word a few times.
Yeah. I'm good at that. I got no problem with that one. But
yeah, no. I am not quite ready to be bringing my own music out, which is unfortunate because I'm leaving soon. Mm-hmm. But c'est la vie.
You're leaving us.
I am.
Ontario.
So
tell us about, I'm curious about that because was that are you going to school, or is that just kind of a life decision to try something cool and new? And
well, my best friend's going to school, and I was like, hey, why the hell not? Want a roommate?
Yeah.
So I'm just moving down there for shits and giggles, gonna have a new experience.
But musically, that's amazing because there's tons of places out there that you can go and perform and get out in front of a bigger crowd and showcase a little more, and then, you know, develop your music. So it's a great opportunity, I think, and I think you're gonna do really good there. So
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. So how much longer are you gonna be joining us in Wetaskiwin?
Till the end of August.
Okay. So we hope to get you at Beans at least once or twice more there.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to go and play again, but if I don't, then that's cool.
You're not gonna do a big farewell.
Actually, you know what? I might have to set something up.
Well, there is a big open stage at the
the Jubilee.
The Jubilee Park.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is, yeah.
You could just prop up a chair and start singing, and people walk by. Just say, "Hey, we'll fill the hat up. I got a trip to pay for."
Yeah, I might have to do that just to see if there's anybody who wants to come out. Maybe have a big old jam sesh wrap up kind of thing. I feel like that would be fun.
That would be.
And it's the community to do it because everybody supports everybody musically, I think.
I feel like that would be a really good get together for local musicians, just to come meet up and get to know each other a little bit better, maybe find some new music partners or whatever. And it would also be a really fun experience for me because, the little diva in me loves the attention.
For sure.
Well, that's the great thing about the internet. You can collaborate, You sing parts here and they play, or vice versa, and whatever. It's great.
Do you have anything online for our listeners?
Don't. I have an Instagram page that has some old videos and some low quality videos.
Okay.
But that's about it right now.
Right now you've got a pretty good recording here, I think, or something. So there you go. Right?
I'll just copy and paste it from here. No, I'm sure I could figure that out. I don't know. But I'm hoping to eventually get I have a YouTube channel, but there's nothing on there because I'm lazy. I'd like to get something up there at some point, but right now there isn't really anything. I'm sorry about that.
Well, I just want to take this time to thank you for joining us today on the Wonkcast and shedding some light on yourself and your music, and I think it's been a great delight for our listeners. And like I said, you have one of those voices where as you sing and when you talk, you don't expect that voice to come out of you.
Oh, thank you.
And it's such a treat because listening to the comparison is different, and you're like, wow, like that's.
Thank you very much. That makes my heart real happy.
You're welcome. Is there anything you want to kind of let the people know? Usually at this kind of part of the podcast, we let the artists kind of have a little free for all and maybe promote a couple of things or give some shout outs or kind of do whatever you want.
I'd like to thank my mom. No, I'm really grateful to have this opportunity before I leave because I feel like it's really important to support local artists, and even though I'm not going to be a local artist much longer, I have lived here for almost 11 years, and this is really the first of its kind in this town. I've never really heard of anybody getting interviewed before about their art or their music, and this is just a really cool experience.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I'm really grateful that you guys invited me to be on here today.
Well, that's what we're all about, is trying to promote local talent, whether it be artists, musicians, whatever it is. I do, and it's funny, it's kind of a segue. I was going to ask you what your impression of the Wetaskiwin music scene is over the few years that you've been playing. Has it gotten better? Has it got bigger? Has it gotten worse? What?
I feel like with the development of the Wetaskiwin Arts and Music Festival, that was a really cool experience, and I'm really glad that we have that sort of thing going on now. Because before it was, just the occasional gig at a bar or Beans here and there, or the open mic sessions down at the Manluck. Mm-hmm. I mean, those are all really cool and fun, but it's not as enlightening as it could be as the festival was. Because you get to experience a lot more of the talent that's in town, whereas, with an open mic, it's usually just for musicians, or seeing the occasional painting or a photograph here or there. It has improved, but there is still a long way for us to go, I think.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I feel like
So with you moving to Ontario, is there a scene you're looking or hoping to get into, or do you already know some people out there that can help you out that way? Or
I don't actually know anybody there yet. I'm hoping that my endless charm and charisma will be able to get me into a couple bars here or there, maybe a coffee shop or two. Just really get my feet in the water.
I don't think you'll have any trouble. Like I said, I lived in Ontario for about 11 years, and there's a lot of places for you to go, especially with your taste in music, because it's big. I think it's bigger out there than it is here. And I know for a fact Ontario, especially Toronto, is more blues-based.
Ooh.
Whereas if you headed to Vancouver, it's more rock and roll, right? So
Yeah.
each province seems to have their own, like Alberta, Saskatchewan country music. Yeah. Rock's kind of big in Alberta, but not nearly as big as country. But you shouldn't have any troubles in Ontario.
Yeah, I hope everything goes well for me there. It'll be a really fun experience, and I look forward to this new chapter in my life.
We look forward to sharing it with you and hearing about it. And, hopefully when you eventually come back, you can come back to the Woncast and tell us all about your experiences in Ontario and how it was.
Or eventually we can have you on Skype.
Yes.
That's going to happen.
Yes.
Interview.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Good thing Dale brought that up, because I would have slipped my mind.
Well, like I said, we both got faces for radio.
That's
right. But this is eventually going to be turned into video and Skype like that too. So yeah, should be fun.
Like a TMZ kind of deal.
Yeah. Well, even there, Justin's got experience. Mr.
Three-time. I didn't want to mention it.
Yeah. How was that?
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah. Great chance to get on there. And you could even get on there if you wanted to, too.
There's not much for me to talk about.
You just got to have an opinion on something.
For about 20 seconds, yeah.
So, if you're looking for opinions, I sure have those. Yeah.
Hashtag Mac on TMZ.
Make it happen, people. Yeah.
Well, if we got nothing else, we'll get you to wrap us up, Justin.
Once again, I just want to thank Mackenzie for joining us here.
Thank you for having
in the studio today. Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a great treat having you and hearing you play a song and sharing some laughs with you as well. I think that's great. So we wish you the best in Ontario, and we hope to hear from you again real soon.
Thank you very much. I hope to eventually be able to make this happen again.
Excellent, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the interview, and we will hopefully see you next week. Bye for now. This week's episode is brought to you by the Wetaskiwin Arts and Music Festival Committee, Delcon Visual Arts, and Warren's Music.